Ugh. Yet. How come you look like you're sitting lower than me?
Well, no. You look bigger than I am.
Fine. There. Bring yours up a bit.
I don't know. Okay. Still close. You're still closer. Your head's bigger.
Well, how come you're sitting like on top of me?
I don't know.
Well, move over a little bit. Okay, let's see if I can get this up on. There we are. Now we get this into the conversation mode. Let's see if I can get this up on.
I lost whoever was on there.
Probably me. Okay, how do I get? Oh. Okay, how do I get? Got it. Feedback. All right, now. Oh yeah, you have to go this way. It's kind of stupid. Okay.
You never can figure this out.
Well, they keep changing it. Oh shoot, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Put it down there. Oh, okay, we got a couple of people here. Okay, I think we're live. We've got Catherine. Hello, Catherine. And Lindsay, hello. And can you guys see us and hear us okay? Still seems a little awkward. And let's see. So we'll just wait here a couple of seconds to see who else shows up. Lindsay says yes, she can hear, and Catherine says yes, fine, okay, that's good. So, Catherine, where are you from? And Lindsay, where are you from? And there's always a bit of a time delay.
Someone here.
What's that? Oh, Catherine's from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Lindsay's from the UK. We were just in the UK, Lindsay. I don't know if you saw our last live, but that was from London when we did that one. Frog in my throat, sorry. And I'm just trying to get that hooked up. Throat, sorry. Okay, no, we don't want that sound on that. Trying to get that hooked up. Throat, sorry. Okay.
Feedback.
Okay, you don't want feedback. And okay, so I have one person now. Well, we'll give it another 30 seconds here, and then.
Yeah, why don't you just start going? Because I mean,
well,
somebody gets bored sitting
here
looking at it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get started. All right. So, welcome to Stephen and Walter Live. This is October the 20th, 2017. If you, as I mentioned a moment ago, if you caught something catching in my throat. If you caught our last live one, that was last Friday. We did it from our hotel room in London because we were in London for 8 days. And I've just posted today a couple of videos that show some random shots of London, and there's a few of Paris thrown in there because we spent 1 day in Paris. We took the Eurostar, and we talked all about that last week, so I don't think we need to discuss that any further. And I did mention in my vlog that I also did from London this past Monday. I showed you some of the haul that I had picked up at that time, but I did a more detailed one just today and posted it because I bought a few more things from a few other places. So you can check that out if you're interested. Catherine says, saw you in Barb Owen's chat this PM. By the way, she will only be streaming once a month from now on. Oh, okay, so that was the message, was it, that she talked about. I couldn't hang around for the whole thing today because I'm doing a live demo tomorrow all day at my local scrapbooking store, Class Act. It's their anniversary, and so I'm doing demos with Tim Holtz's Oxide Ink. So I had to go over and set up while she was on. So she's only going to do it for once a month now. Well, I can see the point, because she does a 2.5 hour live broadcast every week. And she's doing craft and stuff like that. Plus she has courses online that she teaches and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how she keeps up the pace, really. So once a month, yeah, it's probably a little bit more manageable for her. I could see that. Did she give a reason why she was doing it once a month, Catherine? Do you know? And we'll see, because we do have a time delay here. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
we'll come back to that. I've got this off to the side so I can check it. So anyways, our last video we talked about will be done up to that point in London. We did a few things after that. So we went to a lot of different museums that we had never been to before. We went to the National Portrait Gallery. And that's kind of boring. To be honest, that's kind of boring.
Well, it's a bunch of faces of people that don't.
Well, they're historical figures. If you're into history, if you know who all these people were, especially if you know UK history, then I'm sure it has an interest. It's worth going to see. One thing about the museums in London, they were all free. Now, some of them had special displays, which were an additional charge, but most
Or
of
they
them,
ask for a donation.
oh yeah, they asked for a donation, but they're all free. I thought at one time in Canada, in Ottawa, they were.
Our museums in Ottawa used to be free every day, but now they only have one day a week where I think they're free.
If they even have that.
I'm not sure if it's still that way or not, but that's the way that used to be, that all the museums were free.
So if you ever go to Ottawa in Canada, bring some money with you, because unless you hit there on the day that it's free, you're going to have to pay to get into our museums. Go figure. We also went to the National Gallery, which of course is massive, and it has all kinds of important paintings from various time periods and masters, things like that in it. And that's all very interesting too. Though I prefer more the modern and or contemporary kind of painting, you know, abstract and things like that. And we did go to the Tate. And there are two Tates in London, if you've never been there before. We went to the original Tate. That's mine.
I was killing the fly on the side of the glass.
Ew. We have bugs? Ew. Let's not go there.
That was a fruit fly.
Yeah, okay, you're funny. We went to the original Tate. We had been, the last time we went to London, we went to the new Tate in there, which seems to have even more avant-garde sort of stuff in it. But I kind of like the Tate. It's interesting to see the modern art there. We went to the Natural History Museum. What did you think of that?
It was okay, but some of their stuff looked a bit dated.
Yeah, that place needs to be.
I mean, the actual building is really neat inside. It's an old building, but it's.
And they are doing something to it on the outside,
yeah,
anyways.
A lot of their displays seem to be a bit dated.
Yeah, they were kind of, you know, they try to make things interactive for kids and stuff. You know, little doors on hinges open up. There's the answer, that kind of stuff. Their dinosaur display, I did not think was very impressive. I think at the ROM, which is the Royal Ontario Museum, here where we live in Ontario, their dinosaur display is much better.
Yeah, but that's only since they added the new addition to the ROM in Ontario. Yeah. The way they used to have wasn't that great. And the one that London has is actually not bad as far as
not bad, but
as far as a dinosaur.
I guess dinosaurs just don't thrill me anymore.
No, I guess not. They don't really feel.
Now that we're,
I mean, even when we were going through the part about where it explained about earthquakes and that, well, I've seen that a dozen times.
Yeah. Yeah, it got hot, it cooled, it melted,
and then
ran.
We also went to the Victoria and Albert Museum. We went there 3 years ago in 2014, but I couldn't remember that much about it. But it sort of suddenly refreshed my memory this minute I walked through the door. So we sort of breezed through that.
Yeah,
pretty quickly, too.
it's an interesting museum. It's got
Yeah,
a lot
it
of
is.
stuff.
It's got a lot of stuff, and actually, it's got a lot of interesting
Yeah.
stuff. It's got a lot of huge pieces in there that take a couple of stories and that, and it's really interesting to see. But we've already sort of seen it, so we kind of went through parts that we didn't see before and sort of quickly went through it.
I hope we didn't lose the connection because we just froze on that screen. I know we're back. Okay. I don't know what that was about. But anyways, we have another monitor on the wall, which is our TV set. So we can sort of see ourselves on both the iPad that we're looking into right now, and we can see ourselves on the bigger screen. But there is a time delay between the two. Of course, we're basically seeing what you see.
Yeah.
And it froze up there a minute ago, and I don't know why. But anyways, I hope everybody's with us. Let's check to see what's come comments here. Oh yeah, Catherine says that Barb has other projects to complete, so I guess that's why she's doing it once a month now. Craft and Bev is here. Hi, Stephen Walter. Are you rested from your trip?
Pretty much.
Yeah, although I woke up at about 4 o'clock this morning. I could have got up this morning at 4 o'clock, and I tried not to, but then I just laid there with my brain working, and that's why I got up a lot earlier than I usually do. I got up about 6:30 this morning, so still a little bit jet lagged, but not that great a deal. The worst jet lag was when we came back from Australia in January. That took 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks to adjust. And they say that for every timeline you cross, add a day to, how's that work? To get over.
It was funny though, but when we went there, it didn't. Well, I guess what happens is you're raring to go on holidays,
Yeah.
and so the time doesn't really affect you as much when you first start a holiday. So when we went there, it wasn't we lost a lot of time in that, but we managed to adjust relatively quickly.
Yeah.
But on the way back, it was harder.
Yeah, well, that's what we have to look forward to in February again. Okay, and Susie Q's here. Hi, Sue. Hi, Walter, Steve. Glad you made it back safe. Hi, everyone. Yep, no problems. Everything was pretty much smooth sailing, although we had some interesting individuals on the airplane, but we'll come to that a little later on. We'll talk about that. Catherine says, enjoy your pics you posted on YouTube. Deborah's here. Hi, Deborah. And enjoyed seeing all your pictures. Great. And haven't seen the pics yet, but will after watching the live. After the live, I was finally on time. Yeah, Sue, you've made it for it. And BMC 9605 says, wow, made it to a live show. Hello from West Virginia. Good. I'm glad you're able to make it to a live show. That's great. So we were talking about the museums. One museum that's very interesting, but there's not much in it, is the Design Museum. It has actually, it was funny. There were a lot of younger, like college age people there, and they have displays of things that those college people don't know what they are, like 8-tracks, cassettes, Sony Walkmans, old-fashioned telephones. Really kind of makes you feel old when you know how to use those things, and you're looking at them and they're going, what are those? What do you do with them? But it had it was kind of interesting, but it seemed to be more of a kind of museum where I think they have a lot of areas where people go in and do things. Like,
there seemed to be a lot of wasted space in the museum because it was a square, sort of a semi-square building with a large central core and a lot of stairs around the edges and not a lot of content. So like there was the content was on the top floor and it wasn't very big. And the rest were all rooms and offices off the central hallway. And some of the rooms looked like they might have been classrooms or something like that.
yeah.
And then they had a display, a paid-for display on the main floor, but we didn't go to that one.
No. Well, it was free. Well, not the paid part, but the rest of it was
The rest
free.
of it
It
was
was kind of interesting. And we went to Greenwich. And you'll see in the pictures that I posted, Walter standing on the
Meridian
line there. So that was kind of interesting, but oh my God, if you're in a wheelchair or you have trouble walking, not the place for you to go. You walk up a hill,
A very steep.
a very steep hill.
And and both of us are relatively fit, but it was still pretty difficult.
Yeah, it was, you were going at quite an angle to get up there. And I don't know how people with wheelchairs were managing because there was no
No, there was a separate way to go up on the wheelchair.
Well, it was a little bit more gradual.
More gradual slope, but it's still, they have to go up the same elevation, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Catherine says, can't wait to hear you rant into, in my humble opinion, best part of your video is you make me laugh. Now, there was something, this message is held for review. Love the picture of Harry show. Okay. The reason Deborah's message got held up there because I guess YouTube found that the part with the word bastard in it and it froze you, but I unfroze you on that. Yeah, the hairy bastard. That was a pub, I think. I think it was a pub, wasn't it?
No, that was actually a barbershop.
Oh, it was barbershop. Yeah. Yeah, they've got some interesting names. And if you watch that video that I made of the pictures that I took, there are some funny signs there. I'm not going to tell you exactly what ones they are, but if you look carefully and watch, you will see ones. I'll give you a hint. One has to do with balls, and another one has to do with faggots. And they came with something. I'll leave it at that. You go back and you watch that for that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Catherine said she caught them. Okay, but you're sworn to secrecy, Catherine. Let the other people see them too. Okay, so speaking of weird things that, we went to a drag show at a place called Halfway to Heaven.
Right.
And we'd been there before. 3 years ago we were there. It's a small little pub. Of course, it's gay. But they had quite a mixed crowd in there. Well, they didn't at first. You kind of go downstairs in this place, and it's very, very tiny. And we got there early before the show was to start because we knew it would fill in very quickly. And we were able to get a table. I think they only had two. And we got our beers and sat there. And one of the drag queens, before the show started, asked if it would mind if these two guys, seemed to be these two older gentlemen, who are regulars there, if they could sit with us. And we said, sure, no problem. So we talked to them, and that was very pleasant. And then the show came on. And one of the things that I don't like drag shows particularly, because big deal, it's a guy.
Normally what happens in the drag shows in Canada or in USA is there's guys dressed up in ladies' clothes and they lip sync to songs, right? So, but in Britain, in this particular pub, and I guess in other pubs in Britain, they actually sing with their own voices, which makes it interesting.
Yeah, and they don't try to mimic a woman's voice. They use their own voices. I mean, they're all dressed up. They've got the makeup, the whole bit. But they actually sing in their own voices. And plus, they do a lot of comedy as well.
Yeah, they make fun of people in the audience.
They picked on us for a while from coming from Canada, but we knew they would. And that kind of thing. It's just a good taste. And actually, too, what I found, at least actually, these were the same two drag queens we saw 3 years ago there. I guess they're resident people for the whole place. But the one thing I noticed, which is different from the drag shows we've been to here in our own country, the language. They do a fairly PG rated show. Now, I don't know if it gets raunchier as it goes on because they took a break after being on there for about 45 minutes or so. Then they take a half-hour break and they come back on. I don't know how many parts they do. We only stayed for the first part, so maybe they get a little raunchier as time goes by. But here, the F word is basically used as every part of speech, and it's all very obvious sexual puns, and well, it's very blatant here. There, they seem to have a little bit of couth about them. They seem to have a bit of class. It's still funny. It's still a little bit on the edge, but you know, they don't use bad language, which...
Or maybe they just use bad language in English and you didn't notice.
In English?
Like in Britain English, slang.
Well, maybe, but I don't think it's that much. We know most of the slang words in it. It's not that different from our own. But I don't know. Anyways, maybe there's just a classier act altogether with it. But that was very entertaining. Mm-hmm. But as I said, we stayed for the first hour of it, and when they went on a break,
We decided to leave.
We decided to leave at that
Because I
point.
figured that the second half of the show would be pretty much the same as the first half. So,
Mind you, one of the problems too is they just got started in their act, and then a bunch of these people came from downstairs that were a straight crowd. Bunch of women
upstairs.
upstairs. Yeah, what did I say?
They came downstairs. They came
downstairs.
Okay, right.
So they
All
were
right,
upstairs,
upstairs,
came
downstairs,
downstairs, up downstairs,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Anyways, they came down and they were already having a good time,
Half-tanked.
half tanked. I think they all worked together or something. Well, the women were nuts. And what did they do? They all stood, and the guys were all very tall. They all stood right in front of our table. So, I mean, this was a very, very, very small venue to start with. But yeah, that was kind of, and they kept looking over at us. And this one woman, Walter thinks she was trying to get me up to dance.
Yeah, I
with her.
think so. Yeah.
No. One, it's not that I don't dance. It's I don't dance with women I don't know. In fact, I don't dance with women I do know anymore. So no, I think she was there to like, oh, everybody loves it when the straights come to a gay thing. No, we don't. No, we don't. Everybody's polite to you, but really, if you could read our minds, we're probably saying, why are you coming in and ruining our good time? Really? Would you put up with a bunch of us coming in half tanked and throwing ourselves around the room at everybody and that kind of stuff? I don't think so. But anyways, they weren't that bad. They were kind of amusing, actually. I was waiting for the one woman to fall over our table and land out on the floor flat out because she was not that stable on her feet.
Yeah.
She's the one that
And
wanted
I think
me to
the
dance.
guys with them were trying to get him more drunk.
Yeah, I think so. They were maybe hoping the women
Who
would go
knows?
home and they could stay. Well, anyways, who knows? Let's see. What do we got here? Melly Art's here. Hi, Melly Art. BMC 9605 says, I watch a lot of UK shows on YouTube and they seem to be more lenient in their language. Do you think they're lenient? If the way I read.
Well, they had that one show on where they hit.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they get away with more on their television programs in their language and in their content than on American or Canadian television. Like, if some of those shows were to come onto our stations, you wouldn't know
They
what they're
definitely
saying.
would not have had that show on.
They wouldn't. No, that's for sure. So yeah, that's true. So anyways, that was kind of fun. It was an amusing little time. And so that's what. Anything else we saw that sticks out in your mind that we hadn't talked about on the first?
I don't recall.
We're going to talk a little bit about the food and transportation and shopping here in just a sec. I'm just trying to think. Okay, so what's the one thing on this trip that stands out in your mind the most? I was trying to think of that myself today. So that's why I thought I'd ask you, because I'm not sure.
I'm not really sure either. I mean, we've been to London a few times before, so it's sort of a lot of it was like refreshment of the last time we were there.
Yeah.
And
we went.
well, one thing that maybe stood out in my mind is the weather was really decent.
Yeah, the weather was nice.
And what was funny was it was about 18 or 19 degrees Celsius, which is like probably in America, it's in the upper 60s, I guess, in Fahrenheit, if you want to convert it to Fahrenheit. But anyway, we're used to fairly cool weather in Canada. So the first day I got there, it was about 18, and the guy at the hotel says, I said, should I take my jacket? And the guy says, you have to take your jacket. It's too cool, and it will rain, he said. So we took our jacket, but we were sweating buckets all over the place. And then, but people all over the town were wearing jackets.
They were in parkas.
And they were wearing like winter clothes type parkas.
Like,
and then it went up,
fur.
a couple of days went up to 20, 21, which is like 70 Fahrenheit. And we were walking around in our I was walking around, I brought a couple of short sleeve shirts. I was walking around in short sleeves. Everybody else was bundled up and they were kind of looking at me.
Yeah, looking at us like we were weird.
I mean, it was warm for me and I was really hot. And when you walked into the museums, they weren't really air conditioned.
No,
so
and
it
the
was
subway.
really hot.
Or the
tube.
Tube. Oh, it was just cooking.
One of the lines is air conditioned, I think. But a lot of the lines that we were on, which were the Piccadilly line and district lights, they're not really air conditioned, so they just had windows that opened, so it was really baking hot in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so
And everybody's still wearing coats.
yeah,
So
and they're bundled right up. And I mean, I'm talking weather here 18, 19, 20 degrees C. And a couple of days we got up to 22
yeah.
as well. But I guess maybe they're not used to, I don't know, that England gets cold.
But I don't think they get as cold as we get, so we're a little bit more tolerant to really cold.
Hi, so I'm just catching up here. Lindsay says it's getting colder now. She's in the UK. Yeah, it's getting a little bit cooler here too. And hello from Richmond, Indiana, Jennifer says. And now, two people have asked this question right here on the now. So they want to know what pisses you off.
Oh,
Be careful.
that's a good question.
First of all, you do not start this by saying, what pisses me off is Steve. No, no, no. We don't do that. I
have to think about that. I can't think right now. Lots of things.
Well, it'll probably come back to you once we start talking about some of the other things that happened while we were in England. So let's talk about shopping very briefly. Of course, I already did my London haul, and I mentioned the places we went to. But if you're ever in London, one place I highly recommend you go to, and it's easy to get to, especially if you happen to be going down to the British Museum, because it's only a couple of blocks away from the British Museum, and it's called Blade Rubber Stamps. And if you check my video out about my London haul, you'll see all the stuff I got there. It's not a huge store, but it had some really neat stuff. Now, not particularly cheap by North American standards. And I actually asked the guy, because there were a few things there. I was looking for stuff that we can't get here. That was different. But they did have some Ranger products and some Stampers Anonymous products. And I said to the guy, you're charging 40 pounds for something that in Canada would cost, for the exact same thing, $38.99 in Canadian dollars. In Canadian dollars, 40 pounds meant that'd be over $60 for it. And he says, I know. He said, because of Brexit, because the pound has been taking a fall.
Yeah.
And against the American dollar, where they ordered this material from, it's costing them an arm and a leg to get it as well. So if you are going to be looking at stuff over there, now depending on how your dollar is against the pound in the time period, you might want to allot a little extra in your budget. But there was a lot of neat stuff in there, and you can see it all in the haul. Walter looked up a whole bunch of places that we could go and check out, but a lot of them were standard art supply stores, as in paintbrushes and paint and stuff like that. But we did go to another place called, and I don't know how you say it, it's called Slaghogled Arts and Crafts.
Yeah.
Slanchogled. And I show you what I bought there. Slanchogled?
Yeah.
Slanchogled? I don't know. Weird name.
It's a weird name.
But another small store. Now, this is not so easy to get to because it's not really in central London. It's out by Camden Town, where the Camden Market is and things like that. You'd have to take the tube out there, but we're pretty comfortable taking the tube around there because of the number of times we've been. And so we went out to that, and I got a few neat things in there. It was a neat store. It was kind of a mixture of crafts and fine art supplies. But they had a few things, and you'll see them in the video, that I picked up that I thought were somewhat unique. Of course, we did Camden Market, and I talk about my little scam incident that happened there. I'm still not sure if it was a scam or technical error, but you can watch the video. I explained it on that. Camden Market is fascinating. It's like a huge flea market, but it's like with permanent stalls in and out, and it's not.
The only thing is, it seemed to be a lot of yours to a lot of tourists.
Yeah.
And they have an awful lot of t-shirts that you can buy.
Yeah, if you want a t-shirt, that's the place to go. But they also had steampunky stuff.
Yeah.
They have books and journals, like, bound books, things like that. Jewelry. The stuff is not high quality for the most part. You'd have to know what you're getting. You'd have to know what you're looking for. A lot of food. A lot of Indian, Thai, Chinese, that kind of stuff. And actually, we never ate there, but it all looked pretty good. There was that one store, though, the cyber store.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's all done in black lights inside, and they've got a lot of like t-shirts that light up under black light, and other clothes that light up under black light.
A lot of great stuff if you're shopping for Halloween costumes, that's for sure. But actually, if you see the pictures that I posted, you'll see these two giant silvery gold statue kind of things.
Cyber something or another.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
Outside of their doors, and that's the place. And I do have a couple of shots of the inside, but it was inside, so it didn't take so well on that. And then there was a place way out in the boonies that we took.
Actually, it's a chain store. They have several of them all over England, but not so many in central London. They're located on the outskirts of London. And I think they're sort of like a Michael's, and it's called Hobbycraft. So the only one I could find was one that was located closer to the end of one of the tube stations to the West End. There was a little outdoor shopping mall there, so we went there.
It was a tiny little borough or subdivision or something. Sort of the burbs of London, I guess. And actually, we were looking for a place there to eat, but no.
I know we had a choice between Subway and McDonald's, but
yeah, so no, we didn't eat there. We got back on the tube and went somewhere else. But when I got into this store, it was very much like a Joann's with it, because they sold a lot of material as well. But they had quite a selection of craft stuff for scrapbooking, art journaling, but a lot of his stuff we can get here. But I did buy, and you'll see it again in the video, what I did get. And I did get some of this glue that Mike Deacon talks about, if any of you watch Mike Deacon. This Colol spirit glue. And I did some research, and getting it here in North America is next to impossible, and it costs you an arm and a leg. There, I think it was £3.50, 100 milliliter bottles, and they only had 2 on the shelf, so I bought both of them. And we'll see how great it is. But Mike Deacon swears by it. Let's just look at the comments here for a second. Catherine says, I'd like to have one particular paper artsy stamp set. Should have given you my order. Yeah, they had some paper artsy stuff there. That's, I guess, is made in the UK. And their stuff is kind of neat. I love your haul videos, Jennifer says. What you spend. I try to convince my husband that's the amount I need to spend. Yeah, I have a husband too, but he doesn't care because it's my money. We keep our finances separate when it comes to stuff like this.
We've always done that, because when we first met, we were both living in our own locations, and we were used to paying our own money for things. So over the years, we've kept most of that. We have 3 accounts. We have mine, his, and ours. And the common stuff that comes out of the house comes from the ours account. And then we have our own personal accounts where we can spend money on whatever we feel like spending money on.
That way, for me anyways, I don't have to feel guilty. If I just was at my scrapbooking store this afternoon when I was setting up for this demo I have to do tomorrow, and I had some of my order had come in. I usually have a perpetual order in the store, and I just dropped $100. But that's my money. Of course, mind you, $50 of that was a gift certificate for a friend. But
I mean, we have friends. I have a friend that I used to work with, Michael, and Jacques, his partner, and they've combined all their finances to one. But all day long, Michael would spend his money on something, and Jacques be contacting him and asking him why he charged $12 or $13 to a credit card. So I don't need that hassle.
No, don't need to worry about that. So anyways, that's how we keep it from making it into an issue. It's not an issue. It's my money. I'm going to spend it. It's his money. He's going to spend it. Our money, well, there are some blurring. Well, there's actually quite a bit of blurring, but not when it comes to our hobbies. Like he'd spend money on stained glass. So big deal. Spend as much as you want. Don't bother me. Let's see. Anything else here? Catherine says the screen says 18 watching. Isn't that a record? Actually, we're down to 17 at the moment. No, our record was 24 on our last one while we were in London. Might have been the novelty of it being
Well,
in
we
London.
were also earlier that time, so.
Yeah, it's true, because we would have been later in North American time, much later. But
No, earlier in North American time.
oh, it was earlier in North American
It
time.
was
Yeah,
6
that's
o'clock
right.
in England. It was middle of the afternoon or whatever. Or was that probably around? It was probably around 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Time shifting. So Jennifer says, I usually have my own, but I'm not working right now. But he doesn't normally hassle me about my money. And he always buys me gift cards to buy crafting items. He's the best. Yeah, you want to hang on to him then. Because, when I used to work at the scrapbooking store, oh, it was funny, the stories the ladies would tell me. Like, first of all, there was a bag problem. The owner of the store had to change the color of the bags every so often because the women would complain that their husband would know when they came home that they had this certain color of bag, they knew where they were at, and would give them a hassle about it. So she would change the bags, pink to burgundy to white to gold to brown, all the time. And others would say they would hide their loot in their trunk of their car until it had been there for about a week or so. And then when he was at work or somewhere else, they'd sneak it into the house. And other ones would come in and they'd bring their husband with them. And the husband would be standing over top of them like a hawk. Some of them would call us when the husband wasn't home to order things and then just say, if you call to let me know when it comes in, if my husband answers, hang up. So, I mean, I don't know. I felt kind of sorry for those ladies. I said, can't you do that thing that you always hear people say women do about new outfits? Oh, this old thing, I've had it in the closet for months. Can't you do that with your scrapbooking supplies? And then someone would come in and they'd be very militant about it. Well, he goes out on a hunting weekend and he spends money on booze for that and on all kinds of outdoor equipment, all that stuff. So I guess I can spend money on this. Okay, yes, you can. Yep. So don't look at me. I have no problem with that. Spend it the way you want to. The more you spend, the more the store makes. Okay. Of course, I don't work in the store itself anymore. I still work for them, but in behind the scenes. So what else have we got here? BMC says you splurge on art. What does Walter splurge on? What do you splurge on? Porn.
No, I don't. I do not.
No, he doesn't.
He'll
never pay for it.
I don't know. I buy stained glass supplies, but I haven't done any stained glass lately, so I haven't really done a lot of that lately. I buy clothes and do stuff. I don't have a lot of things I splurge on, really. Electronics, some once in a while, I buy something new.
Yeah, you'll come home with some new little thing. And he's like those women in the store. Not that I care, because I'm going to probably benefit from it anyways. They said, well, I bought something the other day. I went, what'd you buy? Well, where is it? Well, I've had it in the
Sometimes
garage.
buy tools or something that are on sale or something. I usually look for stuff on sale and kind of cheap.
Yeah, it's the Dutch. What else is happening here? Let's see. Aren't they great? Okay, then Jennifer says, aren't they great, Susie? And Catherine says, I've never been married, never experienced those problems. Yes. Well, that's a whole conversation for another day. Sure are. We are lucky. There are some supplies in my car. Aha, Jennifer. Yeah, hiding them back there, right? And let's see. Hoot, hoot. Why buy the cow, Jennifer says. Huh? I think they might have been referring to, I don't know, moo, moo, moo. Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, it's stores and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, we didn't buy anything else really much, although we were very regular customers almost every day at S&M or M&S.
S&M.
M&S. Michael's, no, Marks and Spencer. Okay, in their Simply Food store. It was only a couple of blocks from the hotel we were in. So we went in there and we'd get their cheese scones for brekkie. And of course, they sold wine in that. So we were buying. Marks and Spencer's has their own line of wines. So
which were actually pretty good.
yeah, and they weren't bad price. They're about $9 a bottle.
Yeah.
Our money.
5
pounds, 6 pounds.
6 pounds, sorry.
Yeah, and it was called Cape. Was the one that we were getting.
Well, they had different ones.
Yeah.
But it was that one was the Cape White or something like that. What we got.
So that was kind of interesting. And then we bought like, some junky things, some food and some sandwiches at one point. And we were in there practically every day. But one thing that pissed me off about that store is they had a section where you could do the self checkout. I have the worst time with self checkouts. They hate me. I don't think I've ever actually bought anything and gone through a self checkout where I haven't had the attendant come over and help me because something.
Well, that's
didn't
because
bring
we
up.
bought wine and they need to approve it. Like you don't want a 14-year-old buying wine, right?
I guess, whatever. But it was just kind of annoying because it kept saying, call for attendant.
Well, you weren't following the way things that you're supposed to do on one of those. What you have to do is you scan the product, then you got to put it in the bagging area so it weighs it. So that thing, if you don't put it in the bagging area, then it doesn't weigh it, right? And then it doesn't know that you've checked it through. That's what you were doing that first time you were there. You didn't put it in the weighing area.
Whatever.
Okay, fine.
I think there's a better way to do it. It's called going up to the person.
Yeah, they can be a little annoying because you get somebody that's really, really, really small.
Yeah, or you're running into a problem. There's people behind you, and you feel like you're holding them up, and they're all like, "Get it!" Well, nobody said anything, but they're English. They don't say anything. They just stiff upper lip. What do we got here? There's another. What you said. Walter bought porn. Oh, we can see that message. That's funny. It was hiding that message because he used the word porn, I guess. What you said, Walter bought porn? No, he didn't buy any porn. No. Not that the thought didn't go through his head. You guys are cute, Deborah says. Okay, thank you. Are you flustered? I'm not sure who's flustered, but whatever. Susie says, they are funny as heck. I find myself laughing all the time. Same here, Susie, says Catherine. Well, I'm glad we're a source of entertainment for everybody. We choose to inform and entertain, so that's good.
Yeah, one of the qualities I always liked about you is that you're an idiot. So.
Yeah, right. Well, you married me. Who's the idiot? Figure that one out. Okay, so let's move out from shopping. Let's talk. Since we were talking about Marks and Spencer's and food, let's talk about the food. Went to a lot of pubs, had a lot of pies, and I don't mean fruit pies. Meat pies. Actually, they do meat pies over there totally different from the way we do them here, and I like them much better. Yeah,
they're all so light.
Well, they're not light, and they all were cooked in beer, but like steak and ale pie, steak and Guinness pie.
You had that.
I had the chicken
Madras
one, and that was quite good because I like Indian food, and that's the other food they have lots of over there, Indian food, and we both love Indian food, so we had it a couple of times.
Right.
And it was good at both the places that we had, or in different places that we had. Of course, the pubs. Pubs traditionally will have curry in England.
Yeah, but we didn't notice too many.
But not this time. I didn't notice that so much.
Maybe it's just the ones that we had. And there was one place that we went for lunch, and they said the curry. They didn't have the curry.
They were out of curry, yeah. Of course, fish and chips. Now, I do not like fish. I don't mind fish and chips as long as it's halibut. But most of these places, well, all these places, they don't serve halibut in England. They serve cod in a lot of them. Walter got fish and chips in one place, and I had a pie. But
see, I'm a little bit more tolerant to the fish than he is, but I'm still not big on fish. I like fish and chips, though.
I tried a little piece of yours, and actually, I found the
was
cod
good. I've had fish and chips a couple of times there, and in a pub, and both times they were good.
So I did order fish and chips with the cod at another place, and actually, it was quite good. I quite enjoyed it. So maybe, I don't know, Here, though, I don't think we get a lot of cod. It's usually
No, you
haddock.
can get cod. The cod's cheaper than
Yeah.
halibut. Yeah,
I just
the halibut's more of a North American type
Mhm.
fish, or at least a Canadian fish, I think.
But maybe I'll be more adventuresome here at home with fish and chips. But I am not going to be venturesome
I
with
think
any other
each
kind of fish.
country uses it whatever is popular and they're easy to get or
Oh,
whatever.
question here says, please explain what's a meat pie. That's Catherine. And Deborah says it's like a pot pie. And
Yeah, it's like a pot
Jennifer
pie.
says it's like a pot pie. Okay, what it is basically dough, like you'd find in like a fruit pie, okay, like a dessert pie, except it's filled with meat. Meat, sometimes vegetables as well, and gravy. Sometimes they make the gravy with beer or ale as well into it.
And
That's
they
all it is.
Get gravy with it and pour it over top or whatever, and they serve it with
Usually
mashed
chips.
potatoes or French fries or
Chips. They call them chips.
They call them chips in England.
Chips.
But they're French fries.
But they're French fries. We call French fries here. And sometimes they come with mushy peas.
Or vegetables.
Yeah. Now I like mushy peas, but the mushy peas that I like are essentially peas you get in a can, like kind of like that. Not quite, but sort of. But theirs were really green and slightly crushed. I don't know if they mixed them
No,
with
the
it.
one that we got where we both got the fish and chips. We were crushed. But the one I had before that, it was actually
More mush?
Yeah.
More mush than crushed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it said in that description on that menu that we got that you had the fish and chips, it said crushed peas.
Oh, did it actually say crushed?
It didn't say mushy.
Oh, well, they were crushed. Actually, they were okay, but I love peas. Peas are my favorite vegetable, and I especially love like really fresh little sweet peas, green peas, kind of a thing. But so I like those too. That was fine.
Yeah, so we tended to eat a lot of places that we aren't really used to getting here. Though we did go for pizza once.
Lindsay wants to know, did you have apple pie? No, we didn't. In fact, I don't remember seeing that in any of the places we ate as a menu item. Of course, we don't often eat dessert when we're out, although we had it a couple of times. I did have.
I mean, I saw sticky toffee pudding a lot on the menu, so we didn't have any, but.
And they had a crumble.
We did have a crumble one time.
Yeah, we had blackberry and apple crumble, which was quite tasty.
Actually was good.
You could have it with vanilla ice cream, or you could have it with custard. So we had it with the custard.
Because that's usually something we don't get here.
Yeah. That's not something that's common here. And I like custard. So I like ice cream too as well. But so we had it with that, and it's warm. That was very nice. Actually, one place, our best meal was actually an Italian meal that we had. It was in a restaurant we'd been to before.
I think it was called Paparadelle or something like this, and it's in London on
St. Earl's Court.
High Holborn or something street. And we'd been there before 3 years ago, and we recall that the food was very good then. And so we decided to go back again, and it was busy. It was
really busy.
Was it a Wednesday or was it? It was no,
no,
it was a Wednesday.
It was a Monday.
And it was really packed in there, and so I had the lasagna, and it was probably one of the best restaurant lasagnas I've ever had. And
they have a section of what we both had came from their homemade noodles.
Right.
I had it was a wide noodle with there was chicken in it, mushrooms, and there was
it wasn't a cream sauce.
It was a gorgonzola. No, it wasn't gorgonzola. It was a cream sauce of some sort, but actually it was very, very good. Mind you, we also had dessert there. Now, what we had for dessert was limoncello. Well, you had amaretto on ice cream, and I had limoncello on ice cream. And limoncello is a liqueur, an Italian liqueur. It's lemon.
Yeah, it was served as a parfait with
whipped cream
on top.
Actually, it was very tasty. Not a particularly cheap meal, but not the most expensive. We had a bottle of their house wine, which was the cheapest wine on their menu.
And we had bruschetta for an appetizer,
and the wine was quite palatable. Not that we're big snobs about wine, as long as it doesn't make me throw up, I figure it's good. But that whole thing came to with everything, taxes or whatever, it worked out to 112 Canadian dollars for the two of us, which really.
I mean, the quality of the food
Yeah.
is very good.
That isn't terribly expensive. We've spent more than that here in our own country on meals that are not as good as what we had there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's London. It's a big city. You're not going to get cheap food, not unless you're going to go to McDonald's or the Burger King. We did do Burger King one night, and I'm still throwing it up. Okay.
Yeah, because we were tired and we didn't feel like going anywhere. So.
And we knew it was a mistake.
Yeah, well.
But have you ever seen anybody bitch about something they buy at a Burger King that's new on their menu and want to know what it tastes like? But after they've already ordered it, before they've tried it, like there was this weird guy ahead of us, and he was giving them a really hard time about something. I think actually, basically, what they did was they gave him his meal for nothing out of it, just to get him out of their hair. But that was kind of weird. But let's see, what do we got here? Did you gain weight? Not to be too nosy. Oh,
actually, no.
Oh, what? Did you get on the scales?
I got on scales.
Oh, I wasn't getting on
I was
scales.
pretty much the same as when I left.
I don't know what I was when we left, and I don't want to know.
We
now.
walked a lot.
Yeah, in fact.
And a lot of stairs.
First thing I know, this is something that women know all too well. You never, ever go out on long distance walking trips wearing a new pair of shoes. I did. I took a new pair of shoes. I've had them in the closet. I've had those things in the closet for months. Actually, I literally have, because my favorite black shoes that I wear all the time are finally kind of giving up the ghost. So I fixed them today. E6000 will fix anything. I'll tell you that. We'll see how long those last. But I had these new shoes. Now, first of all, I thought just 5 minutes before we went out the door, I said, no, I'm going to wear those shoes. These other ones are going to have a laughing sole if I take those. So I put them on, and I knew it was a mistake because I hadn't worn them yet. Here's the other mistakes. One, you're really not going to get fine leather shoes for $29.99 at Walmart. Okay, that's what I bought. And but they were the style I like, and I knew they weren't real leather, but they were fine for what I was going to use them for. Well, I'll never wear them again because after about 4 days of wearing those ones, I was pretty much crippled.
Luckily, I brought a second pair of shoes.
He brought a second pair of shoes, and we are pretty much the same size when it comes to shoes. So I wore his for the rest of the time. But here, this is kind of gross. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So when we get home off the plane and I'd taken off my shoes, and I was wearing his for 2 days. I hadn't noticed it before, but I had a huge blister on my little toe to the point where it looked like I had 2 little toes. And well, I'll spare you the rest of it.
Anyway.
I'm better now. Okay, so yeah, don't take good comfortable shoes with you when you travel. Yeah, I mean it's obvious, but
You'd think you would have learned by
oh well, I'm just sorry.
Okay.
I had a senior's moment. Whatever. Let's see. What are people talking about here? So gaining weight, I'm not sure. I go by how my clothes fit. My clothes are still fitting. And in fact, I think I may have lost a little bit, but I don't know. Most of the time I felt too bloated to notice because we'd go out, we'd have dinner, and we had 2 meals a day out.
Yeah.
We bought cheese scones,
Which they're not light.
which are not light, but we bought those to have in our room before we went out for the day. We bought a little jar of peanut butter, a little jar of jam at Marks and Spencer's. And we had a microwave in our, we had a little kitchenette in our hotel room. So we had a little microwave and that I could warm them up. We could make coffee. We had an espresso machine in there. So we'd do that before we went out. But we go for lunch, and like I said, we ate a lot of times in pubs, and that food's heavy. And I don't know if I ever did see a salad all the time we were there.
Pretty much. We ate a lot of stuff that you really shouldn't eat.
Yeah. But you know, I was watching all those people, those restaurants, and the English seem to, well, people in general everywhere, I guess, in the world now, no one eats at home anymore.
Well, you don't necessarily think that they necessarily eat there every day. Like
well, no. But I would say, generally speaking, in England or in London, I didn't see a lot of hugely obese
now, mind
people.
you, the amount of walking you have to do, even in the subway system, is to get from one train line to another.
London is not accessible to people who have difficulty in walking. I mean, they do in the subway. The subway stations go like this. The escalators go down, and you can't see the bottom nor the top and it's like this.
They're
this
really
angle.
steep.
If you had vertigo, you would be passed straight out from that. And you go down and
And
you
the
walk,
escalators also move really, really fast.
Yeah, they move
go
at a
like
clip.
2 or 3 times the speed of what a shopping center goes at.
They do have elevators at some of the station
have
stops
ones-
for people with wheelchairs
Yeah,
and things
but then those poor people can only go to the station.
that have them, and they mark
Right?
them on their
Yeah.
map what's successful and not. But boy, that's got to be a real pain in the butt for them to figure out, how to get around. But the one thing about, and I was going to talk about transportation, the best way, if you've never been to London and you're going to London, okay, don't think about renting a car because you're not going to go anywhere in a car. Okay, it's maybe not quite as bad as New York City, but it's bad. But it's so much easier to do the tube, and the tube is so extensive. It looks like you can get anywhere you want to go in the city and in the areas around, like on the edges of the city, without any problem. And it's not terribly expensive. We bought a Oyster card. Actually, we had 2 Oyster cards left over from our last trip, and we didn't know if they'd be any good or if they had any money left on them, because you charge them up with so many pounds. You put on whatever you want onto them. And so when we first got there, we wanted to charge them back up or see if we could use them. We asked them how much was on them. We had 15 pounds on each of those cards.
Yeah, so we added another 20 pounds to the card, and they have a daily maximum. I'm not sure what it is, but you can ride the subways unlimited, and once you reach your daily maximum, it doesn't charge you anymore. So that's kind of nice. So there were a number of days where we ended up reaching the maximum, but I'm not sure what it was exactly.
No. I think in all told, we spent, we charged it initially 20 pounds on a card, then we put another 20 pounds on
it.
and then we put another 5.
Yeah,
so 45 pounds
each
for the time we were there. We were there
and
8 days.
We took it a lot.
And we took it a lot. And they have zones. So, if you stay in zone 1, which is sort of the central core.
It's the cheapest zone.
It's the cheapest.
But then when you go past that, they charge you a little extra for.
And the reason we had it too is because we flew to Heathrow. You can take the tube from Heathrow right to where we were staying. We were staying in Earl's Court, and the subway station, or
the subway station was Earl's Court.
Was 2 blocks away from our hotel.
Right.
So we were right there. You have your suitcase, everything. And we did it on the way back. It was so easy. Like, I know there are other cities in the world, even in North America, where, this is not a big brainer here, the way to get to the airport and back. Toronto, for years, you were screwed. I mean, you had to take.
Well, now they have a train.
Now they have a link, finally. But, it's.
You got a whole pile of comments there.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting to them, but well, you carry on the conversation while I read this.
Okay, fine.
But anyways, we were talking about the food. Now, okay, let's look at the comments. Anyways, finish the story about the tube. So what you do is you just take the card, slam it on a little disc thing, and it reads it and whatnot. But best way to see London, do the tube. It's worth it. Okay, so Meliart says, Stephen, in your London Haul video, you were talking about that Pantone swatch book. You can purchase Pantone formula guides. Go to Pantone website. These guys tell you how to mix those colors. Good to know, Melly. Jennifer says, that's how I justify eating on vacation, walking. Yeah, I don't really watch the calories when I'm on vacation because you're on vacation, right? And for some reason, I want to eat all the time when I'm on holidays. Big problem is going to be Australia. Well, we already been through this once. This time gone almost 5 weeks, and I will probably come home. I'll probably have to get an extra seat on the plane to get my fat rear end into it. Melly says, full version of Photoshop, no elements, has Pantone color swatches, and you can see how to mix these colors. Another solution is download my Pantone app available for iPad 9. Oh, okay, great, Melly. I'm going to look those up. I don't have full Photoshop. I have the Elements one. Too bad, because you say that's not on Elements. And Jennifer says, there isn't anything worse than sore feet in a vacation. Yeah, you can tell me about that. Melly says, my Pantone app has all Pantone swatches and shows mixing recipes, only in RGB. You can also use your own photos to make swatches. Okay. Definitely checking that out. Jennifer says, one time in New York City, my mom got a blister on the ball of her foot. It looked so painful. Yes, I can agree. Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. And Ian's finally here. Hi, glad to see you back home. Okay, only on a bit as it's bedtime here. Yep, we know all about that, Ian. And Jennifer says, I was just wondering where you were, Ian. Ian's in Yorkshire, aren't you, Ian?
Yeah.
Lindsay says bedtime. Well, it's late there. Ian says it's 12 a.m. here. And Deb's laughing about that. Okay, so we talked about stuff we saw. We talked about shopping. We talked about transportation. We've talked about food. Let's take just a moment here and see if anybody's got any other questions for us. Nobody has sent us any questions. Of course, there's still the question is, what pisses Walter off?
I'm not sure.
Oh, there's a lot of things that piss Walter off.
Don't drive with me. I'll swear a lot.
Yeah, and I brake a lot. I'm in the passenger
I've got
side.
something to add to this one that we talked about in the previous one.
What?
That when I went grocery shopping today, I didn't show you.
What you didn't show me?
So
what did you get? Ooh, I'm excited now. Did you buy chocolate? We have some. Oh, you bastard! You hairy bastard!
I bought some butter tarts.
Why did you buy butter tarts? Oh, you just trying to fatten me.
No. I said we were talking about butter tarts at a previous broadcast, right?
Oh, right.
So everybody kind of wondered what they were. So I bought some butter tarts to show.
Ooh.
So that's what they look like.
Those are what butter tarts. Now these are not necessarily really good butter tarts.
No, well they happen to be.
Because these are in the grocery store. Although these aren't bad because first of all, if I didn't see the package they were in, I might consider buying them because the crust looks pretty good. And the center, they're not too runny. If it all fell on the table, that would be too runny. There are raisins in it. I don't want one right now though.
No, well you could sort of cut it in half.
Well, I'll take a bite. Well, it's probably not a big enough bite.
No.
To really show you what else I'm gonna. Oh God. Butter tarts are better than sex. Okay. That's what a butter tart looks like inside. It's basically syrup. There is butter in them.
Yeah, I think there's butter, there's corn syrup, and there's something else in it. I can't remember. And you make them. You mix it all up and you pour it in the pastry and you put it in the oven and you bake them for a little period of time. And they're kind of gooey.
Oh, I just want to get naked and rub it all over my body. And I just had a visual of that myself and almost made me throw up a little in my mouth. But, okay.
So how are they?
These aren't bad. I've had this brand before.
They're Sensation store-bought raisin butter tarts. So,
what?
You can throw it back in if you want.
No, I'm gonna finish it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, you'll have to talk for a while. My mouth's full. Okay, questions. Jennifer wants to know. Oops. Jennifer says, "Was your flight home better than your trip there?" Okay, let's talk about.
Actually, flight home wasn't too bad.
I felt for.
I originally had booked 2 seats at the back that were together. We usually sit across the aisle from each other on a like I'll be in the middle section and he'll be on the window section because I need to get up and walk around. So, but we had booked these 2 seats at the very back. I thought, well, it's okay. There's 2 seats together. We could just sit together at the back. But then they changed the plane that we were coming back on. So though they didn't have seats together at the back, so they moved us to a different section. And I didn't like where we were sitting, so I changed the seating arrangement. As it turns out, the flight back was almost half empty. And he had a lady he was on the aisle side, or on the window side.
I like to call her legs a Kimbo.
No, that was on the way back.
Oh, the way back, you're talking about that one.
Okay, she was sitting quietly at the window and he was on the aisle seat and there was nobody in between. And I was in the center section on an aisle seat and there was nobody in the seats next to me. So I had an entire row of middle section to myself. So actually, that was okay, except for the 3 screaming kids on the way
Oh,
home.
7 hours of
That-
screaming
That
nonstop.
screamed all the way home.
And they weren't screaming because they were in pain, but boy, I would have liked to. My father used to say, "You better stop your crying, or I'll give you something to cry about." Oh, I
And
would
it
have liked to give
started.
them
There
something
was
to
a
cry about.
group of 2 of the kids belonged to this East Indian family that were on there, and they got on the plane. They had 1,000,000 carry-on suitcases, and they decided to block the aisle while they were trying to get their suitcases up in the upper cabinets and upper thing. And the older lady that was there completely blocked the aisle. She was waiting for her husband to come down, and he was 2 people down, and he couldn't get by the 2 people. And so she just proceeded to continue to block the aisle, and so nobody
Gridlock.
could come down. So finally, a stewardess came down the other aisle and said to this lady, "Would you move in so people could go by?" Right? So they finally got her to move in, but she kept coming out and blocking the aisle again. It was incredibly stupid.
Oh, I know. If I ever wished that you could open windows in a plane, oh, it was on that one. I'm definitely going out to buy noise canceling headphones for the next trip because
Oh, that was horrendous. Actually, for some reason, I was able to ignore it enough. But these kids, they must have had sore lungs at the end of it because they were just screaming all the way through.
And then we had a young fellow on there, and he might have been slightly mentally challenged, and he had difficulty walking. He had canes, but you know, the type that have the braces to put your arms in, and he obviously had a spinal problem or whatever. And he locked himself in the bathroom. He couldn't get out, and he's pounding on the door, and nobody was coming to his rescue. I felt well.
No, there was a guy that came in, and he got one of the stewards.
Oh,
to come in.
well, finally.
Yeah.
But you said he was, well, you saw on that side of the plane.
Yeah.
See, Walter had a whole row of 4 seats.
3 seats.
Well,
There
there
were
were
3
4
middle
of them.
seats. On the way there, when we went to London, we were in a bigger plane. This is a smaller plane. We had 3 seats.
But whatever. He had a whole row to himself.
Yeah.
He could have stretched out. Lady behind him, she had a cat with her in a cat carrier. And I love cats. We love cats. We used to have one. And she pulled him out of the carrier at one point, had him on her lap, and I wanted desperately to go over and pet him. But he was giving me these eyes like, I'm not enjoying this flight, and I didn't want to do anything to spook him because next thing we'd have a cat running loose all over a plane, and heaven forbid, but those little kids might want to, oh, kitty, eat. Oh, I don't, poor thing. I don't know how that cat survived, really. All the noise, any turbulence, the whole bit. And how for 7 hours did that kitty not have to go to the litter?
I don't know.
I don't know. And it definitely didn't do anything because, well, we had a cat. So, when a cat goes to the box, you usually know when the cat's gone in the box. With that, you're out there scooping that real quick. But anyways, that was the most eventful part of the whole flight home, really. Food was, well,
Gross.
yeah, it's about up to the standard of airplane food. Gross. That pasta
actually,
thing.
we got 3 bottles of wine. Three small bottles of wine.
Well, it makes the food go down easier. Like, okay, actually, they were probably figured if we were all getting a little bit looped, we wouldn't mind the screaming of those kids as much. I don't know. So anyways, let's see what's been going on here. Steve, and I hate to see you eating one that was homemade and better than store-bought. Oh, I searched for the ultimate butter tart.
I have made them before.
Yeah, but you didn't make your own pastry when you made
Yes,
them.
I did.
Oh, what, you did for those?
Yeah.
Didn't taste like your pastry.
Yeah, I did.
Really?
It was a long time ago, though.
Must have been. My
I'll
memory's
make some more.
Yeah, you should. Can you make them like with stevia or something and like cut out the
Yeah, right. You need the syrup.
Yeah, okay, that was the one thing. Oh yeah, and Catherine goes, I know how much you love kids, Stephen. Not. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's not the kids I hate so much. It's their parents.
Yeah, well,
Because-
it was a little annoying. There, a couple of these little kids were running down the aisles and stuff like that. And kids really shouldn't be running around.
Kids will be kids. Kids will do whatever kids can get away with. And that's the operative point there. And as far as I'm concerned, bring back corporal punishment, slug them. Okay? There are ways that you can give them a lovely little love tap without leaving a mark. Ask my parents. There were no marks on us. We got love tapped a lot. A lot. Okay. Okay, that's child abuse now, accordingly. Well, you know, a little abuse, you know, makes them think twice. Speaking of which, totally off topic, but I did get abused in England. We were in that bakery the night we were looking for food. We went into that and we decided we were too tired and we were going to pick up something at that Paul's bakery.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was close to us. And
Oh,
there was
yeah.
2 drunk guys were in there,
Yeah.
2 young lads. And one young lad could hardly sit up, but there was sort of a bench or something. And he got up real quick as I was walking past him and he bumped into me. And I just automatically, I'm Canadian. So what do we say? I'm sorry. And he goes, fucking well, right? You better be sorry.
Language.
It's okay. It's YouTube. It's my channel. You can say it. You can say that. It's BBC.
No, Granny Potty Mouth got banned.
Well, they won't ban me for one.
Okay.
Granny Potty Mouth was using it in every sentence. But anyways, there was a little piece of me inside that kind of went, I want to choke that. But I didn't. I didn't do anything. So, oh no, just ignore. Just ignore. He's drunk. We don't need, who knows, he might have a knife. Whatever. I think I could have taken him though. He was a bit of a beanpole. And he was so drunk, all I have to do is just trip his feet and he'd knock his head on a table and there's blood and guts all over the place. And I'd be put in prison in a foreign country. And then what am I going to do? Well, anyways, I digress. Jennifer says you should be able to get no children allowed flights. I agree. I absolutely agree. But, you know, the airlines want the money. They don't need the money. They want the money. So that's never going to happen. Susie Q says, I would buy tickets on that flight. Yeah, so would I, Susie. Okay, so moving on. So let's move away from London and stuff like that. It's all on the video. We've done 2 live videos now talking about it. It was a great trip. And it's a good prep for all of you for when we go to Australia. Heaven only knows whether we'll be able to do live ones or not from Australia. We'll see, because our internet connection, Australia does not have really great internet service. We found last time we were there. We had really great internet service though in this hotel. We stayed in London this time.
Really good.
Better than we have at home,
Yeah.
it seemed. So what are we watching on TV? Well, we came home and we had to get caught up on a few things. One is Star Trek Discovery. We discovered last night, like I set the PVR up to tape all these. Well, we discovered that the first one was free. The other ones you had to subscribe to, what was it?
CBS, I'm not sure, CBS
Global Access
or something, or All Access or something like this, which is all access for the United States, but not for Canada.
Yeah, but we can get around that because we have something called an Android box, which allows us to watch that.
Streaming stuff.
It's streaming stuff. And then there's this other show, which is supposed to be a parody of Star Trek series called The Orville. It's done by that guy.
Seth MacFarlane.
Yes, Seth MacFarlane that does Family Guy, American Dad, those ones. And it's actually quite good.
Actually, I was surprised by it because I thought, oh God, Seth MacFarlane, it's going to be crude and really bad. And
It's not.
It's actually not bad. Actually, I kind of like it better than Star Trek Discovery.
They've spent a lot of money on this series because these special effects, it has a continuing storyline. It's not just little vignettes along the way.
I'm pretty
clips.
surprised by it, actually.
Yeah. And yeah, some people are saying they like it a lot better than Star Trek Discovery. I like them both, actually. But so that's what we're watching right now. And in the movies, well, nothing new. The last thing we saw, and we already talked about that, was Blade Runner 2049. But they were advertising this movie over in England that I want to see if it ever comes here. And it's called The Death of Stellan. It's a comedy. It looks pretty good. But you said it was at the Canadian Film Festival.
It was at the Canadian TIFF. It opens October 20th, today, I guess, in London or in England. But I haven't been able to find a listing here anywhere as to when it's going to be opening here. So,
but it looks like it might be pretty good.
Yeah, actually, it's supposedly done in the Monty Python style, if anybody knows what that is. And that's usually
maybe that's why it's opening in England,
weird
not here.
Humor.
Because I don't know if Monty Python caught it on in the States. Python
Michael
caught it here.
Palin of the Monty Python group is playing in it.
Yeah. Maybe it had something to do with the writing of it then.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the style's there. And on YouTube, I don't have any suggestions for anything that we watch on YouTube. I mean, of course, there's all the stuff I usually watch, which I review in my vlogs every week.
He watches, I end up watching too.
Although we do know Granny Potty Mouth that we talked about before, Walter mentioned earlier, she got her hands slapped by YouTube, and she was all in an outrage about this, and she was moving on to some other station, and she's doing Patreon.
She's getting a Patreon.
I don't know. Anyway. I still think Granny Potty Mouth, she's a professional stand-up comedian, and I think she's like, or wants to be, and because her videos are too professional looking. Yeah. They are funny. There's no two ways about it. But yeah, she uses the F word every sentence. And after a while, that stops being funny from it. Like, okay, you hear an old person using the F word, and you don't expect that from an old person. And so that's funny. But the next 20 times, not so. But anyway, so if anybody's got any suggestions on what you're watching on YouTube that are beyond the realm of crafting and stuff like that, that might be of general interest or weird interest, let us know, because I'm always looking for neat stuff. YouTube is more my TV than TV is, I think. So let's see just what people have been writing here. Susie Q says, are you going to do the videos of Australia like the last time? I'm not sure. When I did them last time, I didn't know how to do live as such as I do now. And it's all going to depend on the internet connection, because uploading and downloading on the connections we had when we were there last year,
it was hard.
It was painful. It was extremely painful, and sometimes you spend an hour trying to upload a video,
and actually, when
at the end of it,
we were doing stuff, we were doing it on the ship when we were on the ship.
Yeah,
and that connection was actually a little better than the hotel.
Yeah, that one was through satellite, but that also cost us a lot of money for that connection. That was like what, $300?
That was $400.
$400. Yeah, for 2 weeks on a cruise. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll do something. I'll try to get something up. It might be just little snippets if that's all I can handle with the speed. Or, well, worst case scenario, clear your schedule in about the middle of March when we get back. I'll throw everything I make up onto the YouTube all at once. Keep you entertained for a month. What else have we got here? Jennifer says, he did the update at Cosmos. That's Seth MacFarlane. Oh, I didn't know that. And Crafton Betty says, I don't have regular TV. I just watch YouTube, Hulu, and Netflix. Well, with those three in combination, really, you don't need cable. Because
there's a lot of people that are cutting back on. We've cut back on our regular cable to basic cable, and
we're using this thing called an Android box, which there's some software you load up into it, and it finds websites that stream various programs. Well, basically anything you want.
Yeah, the only thing is sometimes they're not always the best quality, but
no, but for the most part, it's actually pretty good. Of course, the cable companies
are not happy
about this, and they're trying to, make things illegal. But I don't think they're having a lot of success. And even to the fact where the cable companies are now starting to run their own streaming content through the internet. Bell has something called Alt TV that is all web-based, and you can go to it. You can subscribe to it as well. And of course, there's Netflix, which is the same kind of thing. And Amazon has their own network.
Well, this is where that the Discovery thing was on CBS All something.
All Access, wasn't it?
All Access or All Casters, I'm not sure. And it's their streaming service, but the Discovery is exclusive to that. I think Netflix carries it, but it's in the United States only, not Netflix in Canada. So
yeah. So, yeah, there's lots of alternatives now. Let's see. Ian says, we are the Knights of Ni, and we demand a shrubbery Ni. Oh, okay, hey, Monty Python.
And the Holy Grail.
Yeah. It's just a flesh wound. And those of you that don't know Monty Python won't get what I just said. Catherine says, she's also the same as Crafting Betty. She only watches YouTube on her iPad. And okay, so that's caught up. So moving on, what's coming up for us? Well, first of all, you have to get back to normal life, but it's really not normal life because Walter's here all the time. Because as you know, he's retarded. I mean, retired, whatever you want to call it. So interesting. He's, I don't know, is it kicked in yet that you're retarded? Retired?
A little bit. I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking about work every once in a while.
Well, give that up. So what's coming up? Well, we've got a Halloween dance coming up next weekend. It's a man's dance, gay group kind of a thing that we belong to. And yeah, that might be fun, except they're having some problems getting people out there. So, because the guy who puts it together basically puts it together out of funds from his own pocket. He doesn't do it to make a profit, but he would like to break even. And so I've been sharing some ideas with him about how he might go about this in the future, because he's talking about opening it up. And okay, if I have any lesbians out there that watch me, which I doubt because we're not building a bookshelf or fixing a car, but don't take offense to this, but lesbians kill everything when it comes to men only. So if they open it up to men only, I told them, you know what's going to happen? The men won't come. The younger men might come because they're all about, being whatever the term might be, metrosexual, whatever, like in the whole bit. But no, if he opens it up to lesbians, it'll be the end of it. And I mean, that sounds really harsh and bad. I know what you're trying to think, what you're thinking, and it's very hard to explain the history of this, but let's just say
we're two different people.
Yeah, and every time we've ever been involved with anything that eventually the lesbians get involved with, the men don't have anything to do with it anymore, and it usually falls apart and goes down the tubes. Just a short point is an example. 2 lesbians opened a LGBT positive bar in our area a few years ago. When it first opened up, it was all the rage. Everybody was going, men and women there. It was fun. It was great. We didn't have anything else like that out in this area. But then, and it was also a restaurant as well as a bar, and they had entertainment. And then more and more women started to show up, and they started to take over. They started to demand what music was going to be played. They started to take over the dance floor. And I mean, I'm telling you, when they get on that dance floor with a 4x4 with the motor running on it, there's no room for anybody else on it. And the men stopped going. And they tried different tricks, things.
The problem is the women don't spend money. The men spend money.
Yeah.
And
they didn't make any money.
They weren't making any money. And they were trying
their best to come up with ideas to get the men to come.
But men weren't going. So.
Nope. We were probably the only men that went on a regular basis. Yeah. And I don't know why, because we'd go there every Friday night and have dinner.
And their food
sucked. It was horrible. They went through cooks like people go through toilet paper because, mainly because they couldn't get the hours, I guess. They couldn't really support themselves doing it. Anyways, I was even working for them briefly as their decorator for special events, sort of special events planner and decorator. Well, okay, you can only go so far with $10 at the dollar store to decorate a whole venue. Really, because they didn't want to spend any money on anything. And I'm sorry, but decorations from the dollar store look like decorations from the dollar store. Cheap and used. So, which might be...
Anyway, so probably shouldn't have gotten on that topic because it's a big topic.
It's a big topic. It's a controversial topic. It's very debatable within our community. And yeah, okay. And there's no way I'm going to come out smelling like a rose when it comes to this topic, because I'm just going to see.
Okay, so move on.
Okay, moving on. Okay, so we're going to that. Got a friend's 50th birthday. I can't say too much about it because I don't know if this friend watches any of my videos. Probably not. But anyways, I'm not even sure if it's a surprise or not. We got the invitation while we were in London. So that's next Saturday night. So their 50th. So we've got, I don't want to really say it on here just on chance that this person sees this video. So I can't say what we've got planned, but we have something planned. And then we have further down the road, tail end in November, RMG Exposed. That's the art gallery we volunteer at. And every year they have this fundraiser where they have sort of a competition with photographers from the area. And then they have an auction. And they make a lot of money from it. We went last year. It's kind of fun. It's interesting. And we don't have to work that night at it. So, because we're paying customers as well. So they have lots of food. They have, lots of drinks.
You said it was photography, right?
It's photography, yeah. So that's coming up. So we've already talked about my issue of the week, crying kids on airplanes. So anything else?
I have to think of what's pissed me off because I'm not sure right now.
I don't know. There's something new every day for you. I don't know what I'm going to write about what's pissing me. Oh, yes, I do. I already put it down. Not going to tell you. You have to tune the vlog on Monday to find out what's pissing me off. But it has nothing to do with our trip.
I'll have to think about it for next week.
Nothing pissed me off about the trip. Trip was good. It was lovely. The only thing is Paris, and you heard us talk about that. Poo-poo. Yeah. Oh, my God, Paris. It's too bad. Beautiful city.
Actually, it was interesting because on this trip, we got to see, we only were in Paris a day, but we had the distinct contrast between London and Paris for even that one day. And I certainly like London better.
Catherine says, be nice, Stephen. That was me being nice, Catherine. I'm sorry to tell you, but that was me being nice. And Ian says, no room because of their handbag. They dance around. No, Ian.
They don't have handbags.
They don't have handbags. Lesbians do not bring handbags. They bring fanny packs, if anything. They have sensible clothes with pockets. They carry men's wallets. And yeah, at least the ones we know.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen too many with handbags.
No, and there, if you do, that's a lip sticker. And
that's one that's feminine.
Yeah, very feminine. Like
lip sticker is feminine.
Yeah. Oh, Catherine says, I meant be nice to Walter. Why? I am nice to him. Every day that I don't put poison in his food means I'm being nice to him. There's not a lot of those days. Okay, so whatever. It could be worse. Okay, so unless there's some questions or anything else out there, I think we've pretty much exhausted this live chat. And what do we have for dinner? You were making something in a casserole dish.
Yeah, sort of semi-chicken parm.
Okay. You mean it's a semi-chicken? How can a chicken be semi? Quasi-parm. Quasi-parm. It's got a hump on it. Yeah. Cindy says, you and Walter are too funny. Yeah, we should have our own comedy show. We wouldn't make a cent from it.
Mr. Magoo and
yeah, Mr. Magoo. What, You're Mr. Magoo. You put on your glasses
and you're Peabody or whatever.
Sherman and Peabody. Yeah, well, you're Sherman. Sherman was the stupid one. Meat pie. Catherine says we have meat pie.
No
crust. I don't know. It's sitting over in a little casserole dish with a piece of tinfoil over the top of it.
It sort of started off being chicken parm, but it sort of.
Oh, it started off. That's always a good way to make something sound African. Well, it started off as, and what's it going to end up like? Well, I'm sure it's delicious.
It's a new creation.
I'll just have another drink and I won't care. Okay, so everybody, I think we're going to call it a night. Thanks again for joining us. We did not break our record of 24, but we got close. I think 18, 19, so that's not too bad. But we certainly are racking them up when it comes to the review, like the rebroadcast and that kind of thing. So that makes us feel good. You love us. You love us. Whatever. Sally Fields kind of a thing there. Cindy says, did you save any drink for dinner? Oh, dear. That's only the first bottle. We have a wine fridge that you can't see right there. I don't want to say we're luscious, but we enjoy our wine. Yeah. Okay. Night, boys. Cindy says, night to all of you. We'll talk to you all soon. See my vlog on Monday and maybe some other things I'll get up in the week. And you guys have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Have a good
And we'll
weekend.
see you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.